The phone rang at exactly 2:17 a.m., piercing through the silence of the empty corporate tower like a blade through silk. Darlene Whitaker froze, her cleaning cloth still in mid-wipe across the massive mahogany desk of Nathan Cross, CEO of Cross Industries. The phone had never rung this late during her 3 years of night cleaning. Never. She stared at the sleek black device as it continued its urgent plea. The caller ID showed a string of foreign numbers and her heart began to race. Something felt wrong. Terribly wrong. The phone rang again and again, each ring more desperate than the last. Darlene's hand hovered over the receiver. She wasn't supposed to answer phones. Her job was simple: clean, empty trash, vacuum, and disappear before the morning staff arrived. But the ringing wouldn't stop, and an inexplicable feeling of dread washed over her. On the 7th ring she picked up. "Cross Industries," she said softly, her voice barely above a whisper. A rapid stream of Japanese erupted from the other end, filled with panic and urgency. Darlene's eyes widened. She understood every word, thanks to her beloved grandmother who had worked for a Japanese family for 40 years and taught Darlene the language during countless summer afternoons. The man was saying something about contracts being terminated, lawsuits, and massive financial losses. He mentioned Nathan Cross by name, and the words $500 million came through clearly in English. "Please," the voice continued in Japanese, "I must speak with Cross-san immediately. This cannot wait until morning. The board has voted. We are canceling everything." Darlene's heart pounded. She glanced around the empty office, knowing Nathan Cross was probably asleep in his penthouse apartment across town. But this man on the phone sounded desperate, and he was talking about hundreds of millions of dollars. "Sir," she replied in Japanese, "Mr. Cross is not available right now. Can you tell me what this is about? Maybe I can help." A stunned silence followed. Then the man spoke again, this time slower and more clearly. "You speak Japanese? Thank goodness. I am Hiroshi Tanaka, CEO of Tanaka Global Industries. We have been Cross Industries' largest client for 5 years. But there has been a terrible misunderstanding about the delivery schedules for our spring launch. My board believes Cross Industries has disrespected our timeline and our culture. They voted tonight to terminate our contract and pursue legal action for damages." Darlene sank into Nathan Cross's leather chair, the magnitude of the situation hitting her like a freight train. Tanaka Global was indeed Cross Industries' biggest client. She had seen the reports while cleaning Nathan's desk over the months. This contract represented nearly half of the company's annual revenue. "Mr. Tanaka," she said carefully in Japanese, "what exactly happened with the delivery schedule? Your company sent an email last Friday informing us that our spring product launch would be delayed by 2 weeks. But the email came on a Friday afternoon, and it was very brief. No explanation, no apology, no acknowledgement of the impact on our business. In Japan this shows great disrespect. My board felt insulted by the casual dismissal of our concerns." Darlene closed her eyes, beginning to understand. She had learned from her grandmother that Japanese business culture valued deep respect, proper communication, and acknowledgement of relationships. A brief email about delays without proper context would indeed be seen as disrespectful. "Mr. Tanaka," she said, "I believe this is a cultural misunderstanding. American business communication can seem abrupt, but it was not intended as disrespect. Mr. Cross values your partnership greatly." "But it is too late," Hiroshi replied, his voice heavy with regret. "The board has decided. Unless we can resolve this immediately, by morning our lawyers will begin proceedings. I called hoping to speak with Cross-san personally, to give him one last chance to explain." Darlene's mind raced. She looked at the clock, 2:23 a.m. Nathan Cross needed to know about this immediately, but she was just a cleaning lady. Who would believe her? Who would listen? But she thought about all the people who worked at Cross Industries. The security guards who greeted her warmly each night. The office workers whose family photos she dusted carefully. The maintenance crew who shared their coffee with her during breaks. If this contract was cancelled, many of them would lose their jobs. Have you ever been in a position where you had information that could save others, but you felt too small or unimportant to speak up? What would you do if you were Darlene right now? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories about ordinary people in extraordinary situations. "Mr. Tanaka," Darlene said, making a decision that would change everything, "please give me your direct number. I will make sure Mr. Cross calls you within the hour. This misunderstanding can be fixed." "You can reach him at this hour?" "I will find a way," Darlene promised, surprising herself with her determination. After taking down Hiroshi's contact information, Darlene hung up and stared at the phone. She was about to call one of the most powerful men in the city at 2:30 in the morning. She was about to step completely outside her role as a cleaning lady and insert herself into a multi-million-dollar business crisis. But she thought about her grandmother, who had always taught her that helping others was more important than following rules. She thought about all the good people who worked here who deserved to keep their jobs. She thought about respect, understanding, and the bridges that could be built between cultures. Darlene picked up the phone again and dialed Nathan Cross's personal number, which she had memorized from seeing it on his desk countless times. As the phone rang on the other end, she realized there was no going back. Whatever happened next would change her life forever. But sometimes, the right thing to do was also the scariest thing to do. The phone connected and a groggy voice answered. "This better be life or death." "Mr. Cross," Darlene said, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "This is Darlene from the cleaning crew. And sir, it really is life or death." Nathan Cross sat up in his bed, instantly alert. In 15 years of running Cross Industries, he had never received a call from his cleaning staff. The woman's voice was calm but urgent, and something in her tone made him pay attention. "Darlene, right? What's happening?" "Mr. Cross, I'm at your office and I just received a call from Hiroshi Tanaka in Japan. He's canceling your $500 million contract unless you call him back within the hour." Nathan's blood turned to ice. "What? That's impossible. Our contract with Tanaka Global is solid until next year." "Sir, there's been a misunderstanding about delivery schedules. Mr. Tanaka said his board voted tonight to terminate the contract because they felt disrespected by an email your company sent last Friday." Nathan jumped out of bed, already reaching for his clothes. "An email? What email?" "Something about a 2-week delay for their spring launch. Mr. Tanaka said it was sent Friday afternoon, very brief, with no explanation or apology." Nathan's heart sank as he remembered. Tom Richardson from operations had sent that email while Nathan was in meetings. It had been a simple notification about production delays due to supply chain issues. Nathan had approved it quickly, not thinking about cultural sensitivities. "Darlene, how do you know about this call? Why did Tanaka call my office line at this hour?" There was a pause. "Sir, I answered the phone because it wouldn't stop ringing. I understood what Mr. Tanaka was saying because he was speaking in Japanese." Nathan stopped buttoning his shirt. "You speak Japanese?" "Yes, sir. My grandmother taught me. She worked for a Japanese family for 40 years. Nathan's mind raced. None of his executives spoke Japanese fluently. They had always used translators for important meetings with Tanaka Global. But this cleaning lady, this woman he had barely noticed despite her working in his office for years, had just received and understood a critical call that could save or destroy his company. "Darlene, I need you to stay exactly where you are. I'm coming to the office now. And I need you to tell me everything Tanaka said, word for word." 20 minutes later, Nathan burst through his office door to find Darlene standing beside his desk, still holding her cleaning supplies. She looked nervous but determined, her brown eyes reflecting the city lights streaming through the floor-to-ceiling windows. "Tell me everything," Nathan said, loosening his tie as he sat down. Darlene took a deep breath and began recounting the conversation in perfect detail. As she spoke, Nathan realized that his brief, business-like email had been interpreted as a complete lack of respect for Tanaka Global's importance. In Japanese culture, such communications required careful consideration, proper context, and acknowledgement of the relationship. "He said the board felt insulted by the casual dismissal of their concerns," Darlene explained. "In Japan, business relationships are built on mutual respect and understanding. A brief email about delays without explaining the reasons or expressing regret for the inconvenience would be seen as very disrespectful." Nathan ran his hands through his hair. "But we deal with American companies this way all the time. Brief, direct, to the point." "Yes, sir, but Japanese business culture is different. My grandmother always taught me that in Japan, how you say something is often more important than what you say. They value harmony, respect, and maintaining face." Nathan looked at Darlene with new eyes. This woman, who he had barely acknowledged beyond polite nods in the hallway, understood cultural nuances that none of his highly paid executives had grasped. "What did you tell Tanaka?" "I told him it was a cultural misunderstanding, that American business communication can seem abrupt but wasn't intended as disrespect. I said you valued the partnership greatly. He gave me his direct number and said he would wait 1 hour for your call." Nathan checked his watch. "That was 30 minutes ago. Darlene, I need your help. I can't afford to make another cultural mistake on this call. Will you stay and help me navigate this conversation?" Darlene looked surprised. "Me? Sir, I'm just the cleaning lady. No, Nathan said firmly. Tonight you're the person who might save this company. Will you help me? Darlene thought about all the people whose livelihoods depended on Cross Industries. She thought about her grandmother's teachings about helping others and building bridges between cultures. Despite her nervousness, she nodded. Yes, sir. I'll help you. Nathan immediately called Hiroshi's direct line. When the Japanese executive answered, Nathan could hear the strain in his voice even speaking English. Cross-san, thank you for calling. I was beginning to think you did not care about our partnership. Hiroshi, I care deeply about our partnership. I understand there was a serious misunderstanding about our communication regarding the delivery delays. I want to make this right. Darlene quietly wrote notes on a piece of paper, coaching Nathan on what to say. She wrote, acknowledge the mistake. Express sincere regret. Ask for his guidance. Nathan followed her prompts. I realize now that our email was insufficient and culturally insensitive. I sincerely regret any disrespect you and your board felt. I value our relationship too much to let a communication error destroy 5 years of partnership. There was a long pause. Then Hiroshi spoke more softly. Cross-san, I appreciate your words. But my board is very upset. They question whether Cross Industries truly understands or respects Japanese business practices. Darlene wrote another note. Ask for the chance to demonstrate respect in person. Hiroshi, would you give me the opportunity to demonstrate our respect properly? I would like to arrange a meeting where we can address your concerns face to face, with the cultural sensitivity this situation deserves. That would require you to come to Tokyo, Hiroshi said. And you would need someone who truly understands our culture to ensure no further misunderstandings. Nathan looked at Darlene, who nodded encouragingly. I can be in Tokyo within 48 hours, with a cultural advisor who speaks fluent Japanese and understands the importance of proper business relationships. Very well, Cross-san. I will postpone the board's final decision until we can meet. But this is your last opportunity. Any further cultural missteps will end our partnership permanently. After the call ended, Nathan sat back in his chair, amazed at how quickly the crisis had been contained. But he realized the hardest part was just beginning. He needed to get to Tokyo, repair 5 years of cultural oversights, and save a $500 million contract. And he needed Darlene's help to do it. Darlene, he said, how would you like to take a trip to Tokyo? Darlene stared at Nathan Cross as if he had just asked her to fly to the moon. Tokyo? Mr. Cross, I've never been on an airplane in my life. Nathan leaned forward in his chair, studying this remarkable woman who had just helped him navigate the biggest crisis of his career. Darlene, in the past hour, you've demonstrated more cultural intelligence than my entire executive team. Hiroshi specifically mentioned needing someone who understands Japanese culture. He was talking about you. But sir, I'm not qualified for international business meetings. I clean offices for a living. You speak fluent Japanese, you understand cultural nuances, and you just saved my company from a $500 million disaster. I'd say you're more qualified than anyone else I know. Darlene sat down slowly in the chair across from Nathan's desk, her mind spinning. I can't just leave my job, my responsibilities here. What if this wasn't about leaving anything behind, but about stepping into something bigger? Nathan asked gently. Darlene, you've been working here for 3 years. In all that time, have I ever really talked to you? Have I ever asked about your dreams, your goals, your potential? Darlene shook her head, not trusting her voice. That's my mistake and I'm sorry for it. But tonight showed me something important. You have skills and knowledge that could benefit not just this company, but everyone who works here. If we lose the Tanaka contract, I'll have to lay off at least 200 people. The weight of that number settled on Darlene's shoulders. 200 families. 200 people just like her, working hard to make ends meet. What exactly would I need to do in Tokyo? She asked quietly. Nathan pulled out a notepad and began writing. First, help me understand what we've been doing wrong culturally for the past 5 years. Second, coach me on proper Japanese business etiquette for our meetings. Third, serve as a translator and cultural bridge during negotiations. And after Tokyo? Nathan paused, considering his words carefully. Honestly, I haven't thought that far ahead. But Darlene, a person with your skills shouldn't be limited to night cleaning. If you help me save this contract, I want to discuss a permanent position that actually uses your talents. Darlene's heart raced. What kind of position? Cultural liaison, international relations, maybe even executive assistant for global accounts. We'll figure out the details later. Right now, I need to know if you'll come to Tokyo with me. Darlene thought about her small apartment, her routine life, her fear of stepping outside her comfort zone. Then she thought about her grandmother, who had always encouraged her to use her language skills but had died before seeing Darlene find the courage to do so. "Mr. Cross, if I say yes, I need you to understand something. I've never been in a corporate boardroom. I don't have business clothes for international meetings. I don't know corporate protocols. We'll handle all of that. Tokyo has excellent shopping, and I have a personal assistant who can brief you on business protocols during the flight." "You're really serious about this?" "Dead serious. Darlene, I built this company from nothing. I know talent when I see it, even when it's been hiding in plain sight." Darlene closed her eyes, feeling the weight of the decision. Fear and excitement battled in her chest. "If I do this, if I help you save the Tanaka contract, you promise to consider me for a real position here?" "I don't just promise to consider it. I promise to make it happen." The sincerity in Nathan's voice convinced her. "Okay. I'll go to Tokyo with you." Nathan smiled for the first time that night. "Excellent. We leave tomorrow evening. That gives us most of tomorrow to prepare." "How do we prepare for something like this?" Nathan stood up and walked to his bookshelf, pulling out several volumes on Japanese business culture. "We study. You're going to teach me everything your grandmother taught you about respect, protocol, and relationship building in Japanese culture." For the next 4 hours, as the sun began to rise over the city, Nathan and Darlene worked together like partners instead of boss and employee. Darlene shared stories her grandmother had told her about the importance of gift giving, the significance of bowing, the art of reading between the lines in Japanese communication. Nathan took notes like a dedicated student, asking questions and practicing phrases. As they worked, the formal barriers between them began to dissolve. Nathan learned that Darlene had a college degree in international studies that she had never been able to use. Darlene discovered that Nathan had built his company while caring for his sick mother, working 18-hour days for years. "Why didn't you ever apply for a different position here?" Nathan asked during a break. Darlene shrugged. "I applied when the company first opened. I was told I didn't have enough experience. After a while, I just accepted that this was my place. That was a mistake on our part. A big one." As the morning staff began arriving, Nathan made arrangements for their trip. He called his travel agent, his personal assistant, and his head of operations. He explained that Darlene would be accompanying him to Tokyo as his cultural advisor and that she should be treated with the same respect as any executive. "Sir," his assistant Jennifer asked during one call, "should I book separate hotels?" Nathan looked at Darlene, who was reviewing Japanese business card etiquette in one of his books. "Book a suite with separate bedrooms at the Imperial Hotel. Ms. Whitaker will need appropriate accommodations for a business advisor." When all the arrangements were made, Nathan turned back to Darlene. "Are you ready for this?" Darlene looked up from the book, her eyes bright with nervous excitement. "Mr. Cross, 6 hours ago I was cleaning your office. Now I'm preparing to save your company in Tokyo. I'm not sure anyone could be ready for something like this. But you're willing to try?" "Yes, sir. I'm willing to try." Nathan extended his hand to her. "Then let's go save this company together." As Darlene shook his hand, she realized that her life had just taken the most dramatic turn imaginable. In less than 24 hours she would be on a plane to Japan, sitting across from billionaire executives, using skills she had never imagined would matter. But for the first time in years she felt truly alive. The next morning, Darlene stood in front of her bedroom mirror, hardly recognizing the woman staring back at her. Nathan's assistant Jennifer had arranged for a personal shopper to deliver an entire wardrobe of professional business attire. The navy blue suit fit perfectly, and the transformation from cleaning uniform to executive wear felt surreal. Her phone buzzed with a text from Nathan. "Car will pick you up at 2 p.m. Ready to change the world?" Darlene smiled despite her nerves. After their all-night preparation session, she felt an unexpected sense of partnership with Nathan Cross. He had listened to every piece of advice, treated her insights with respect, and never once made her feel inferior despite their obvious differences in social status. When the luxury sedan arrived at her modest apartment building, several neighbors gathered at their windows. Darlene had never been picked up by anything fancier than a city bus. As she slid into the leather seats, she thought about her grandmother's favorite saying, "Opportunities come disguised as challenges." Nathan was waiting at the airport, dressed casually in jeans and a blazer. When he saw Darlene, his expression showed genuine appreciation. "You look like you were born for this," he said, helping her with her luggage. "I feel like I'm playing dress up," Darlene admitted. "That feeling will pass. I felt the same way at my first major business meeting. The secret is remembering that clothes don't make you qualified. Your knowledge and character do. During the 14-hour flight to Tokyo, Nathan and Darlene continued their cultural crash course. The first-class cabin gave them privacy to practice conversations, review Japanese customs, and plan their strategy for the meetings ahead. "Tell me about gift giving," Nathan said, reviewing his notes. "In Japan, the presentation is almost as important as the gift itself," Darlene explained. "It should be wrapped beautifully, offered with both hands, and received with gratitude and respect. Never open it immediately unless invited to do so. What kind of gifts are appropriate? Something high quality from your region but not too expensive that it creates an obligation. I suggested items representing American craftsmanship that show thoughtfulness without being excessive." Nathan had followed her advice, purchasing handcrafted items from local American artisans for Hiroshi and his key executives. As the hours passed, their professional collaboration deepened into genuine friendship. Nathan shared stories about building his company, the sacrifices he had made, and his fears about failure. Darlene talked about her dreams of using her language skills, her grandmother's influence, and her struggles with self-confidence. "Why did you stay in cleaning for 3 years if you had bigger aspirations?" Nathan asked. Darlene considered the question carefully. "Fear mostly. And comfort in routine. When you grow up without much money, you learn to be grateful for steady work, even if it's not your dream job. But you took a huge risk answering that phone call. What changed?" "I realized that staying safe wasn't really keeping me safe at all. It was just keeping me small." Nathan nodded thoughtfully. "I understand that feeling. When I started Cross Industries, people told me I was crazy to leave my comfortable corporate job. But comfortable wasn't making me happy. Do you ever regret taking that risk?" "Never. Even if this Japan trip doesn't work out, I'll never regret betting on myself. And I'll never regret betting on you." The sincerity in Nathan's voice made Darlene's heart skip a beat. She had never had anyone believe in her potential the way he seemed to. When they landed in Tokyo, the city's energy hit them immediately. The efficient organization, the politeness of everyone they encountered, and the underlying cultural emphasis on respect and harmony were exactly as Darlene's grandmother had described. Their hotel suite overlooked the Imperial Palace, and Nathan had arranged for a traditional Japanese dinner to be served in their room as final preparation for the next day's meetings. "Remember," Darlene coached as they practiced with chopsticks, "in Japanese business culture, patience is a virtue. Don't rush conversations or push for quick decisions. Let relationships develop naturally." "That goes against every American business instinct I have," Nathan admitted. "I know. But Hiroshi will be watching to see if you truly understand and respect their way of doing business." They spent the evening reviewing every detail of Japanese business etiquette. The proper way to exchange business cards with both hands and a slight bow, the importance of allowing moments of silence for reflection, the art of indirect communication that preserved everyone's dignity. "Darlene," Nathan said as they finished their preparation, "I want you to know something. Regardless of how tomorrow goes, working with you has been one of the best professional experiences of my career. You've taught me more about leadership and cultural sensitivity in 2 days than I learned in 15 years of business school and experience." "Thank you for giving me this chance," Darlene replied. 3 days ago I thought my life was completely planned out. Now I feel like anything is possible." They were standing on the suite's balcony, looking out over the glittering Tokyo skyline. The moment felt charged with possibility and something deeper than professional respect. "Darlene, can I ask you something personal?" "Of course. Are you involved with anyone? Romantically, I mean." Darlene's breath caught. "No. I haven't dated anyone seriously in over a year. My last relationship ended when he said I was too ambitious for a cleaning lady." She paused. "Why do you ask?" Nathan turned to face her fully. "Because I'm finding it hard to separate my professional appreciation for you from my personal attraction to you. I don't want to complicate this business situation, but I also don't want to pretend I don't feel something here." Darlene's heart raced. "Nathan, I feel it too. But you're right about the complications. Let's focus on saving your company first. Then we can explore whatever this is between us." Nathan smiled. "Deal. But after we succeed tomorrow, and I'm confident we will, I'd like to take you to dinner. A real date, not a business meal." "I'd like that very much." They shook hands formally, but both felt the electric connection that promised much more than a business partnership. The next morning would bring their greatest challenge yet, but for the first time in her life, Darlene felt truly confident about facing the unknown. The next morning arrived with Tokyo's characteristic efficiency. Darlene woke to find traditional Japanese breakfast waiting in their suite, along with detailed briefs about Tanaka Global Industries that Nathan's research team had compiled overnight. "Ready for this?" Nathan asked, adjusting his tie with nervous energy. "As ready as we can be," Darlene replied, though her stomach was filled with butterflies. "Remember, today is about rebuilding trust and demonstrating respect." Their first meeting was scheduled for 10 a.m. at Tanaka Global's headquarters in the business district. As their taxi navigated through Tokyo's morning traffic, Darlene coached Nathan on final details. "When we meet Hiroshi, let him speak first. Show patience. And remember, if he offers tea, accept it gracefully even if you don't want it. What if I say something wrong? You won't, because you're going to think before you speak, and I'll be there to help if needed." The Tanaka Global building was an impressive glass tower that spoke of success and tradition. In the elevator to the 40th floor, Nathan took a deep breath. "I've negotiated million-dollar deals before, but this feels different." "Because it is different," Darlene said softly. "This isn't just about money. It's about relationships, respect, and understanding between cultures." Hiroshi Tanaka greeted them in a conference room with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Tokyo Bay. He was a distinguished man in his 50s, impeccably dressed, with kind eyes that suggested wisdom and patience. "Cross-san," he said, bowing slightly. "Welcome to Tokyo." Nathan returned the bow with exactly the depth Darlene had taught him. "Tanaka-san, thank you for receiving us. I am honored by your time and patience." Hiroshi's eyes brightened slightly at Nathan's use of proper Japanese honorifics. Then he turned to Darlene. "And you must be the cultural advisor who understood our conversation. Please tell me your name." "I am Darlene Whitaker," she replied in Japanese, bowing respectfully. "It is an honor to meet you, Tanaka-san." Hiroshi's eyebrows rose in surprise and pleasure. "Your Japanese is excellent. Where did you learn?" "My grandmother worked for a Japanese family for many years. She taught me language and culture from childhood." "She taught you well. Please both of you sit." The formal tea service that followed allowed Nathan to demonstrate the patience and respect that Darlene had emphasized. He waited for Hiroshi to begin drinking, used both hands to hold his cup, and expressed genuine appreciation for the tea's quality. "Cross-san," Hiroshi began, "before we discuss business, I must understand something. In 5 years of partnership, why have cultural considerations never been part of our communications?" Nathan glanced at Darlene, who nodded encouragingly. "Tanaka-san, I must be honest. I made the mistake of assuming that business success was universal, that efficiency and directness were always appreciated. I failed to understand that how we communicate is as important as what we communicate. This was my error, not my company's." "And what has changed?" "Working with Darlene has opened my eyes to the richness of cultural understanding. I realize now that our partnership has been one-sided. You have adapted to our American business style, but we have never adapted to yours." Hiroshi considered this carefully. "What do you propose?" "We would like to restructure our entire communication approach with Tanaka Global. All future correspondence will be culturally appropriate, respectful of your time zones and business customs. We want to create a true partnership, not just a vendor relationship." "This sounds promising, but my board needs more than promises. They need evidence of genuine change." Darlene leaned forward slightly. "Tanaka-san, if I may suggest something?" Hiroshi nodded for her to continue. "Perhaps we could arrange a video conference with your board members? Cross-san could personally address their concerns and demonstrate his commitment to cultural respect. Sometimes face-to-face communication, even virtually, can convey sincerity better than any document." Hiroshi's eyes lit up. "This is an excellent suggestion. My board members are very traditional. They value personal accountability and direct communication." Nathan immediately agreed. "We can arrange a video conference at your convenience." "Can you do this today? My board is meeting at 3 p.m. "Absolutely." Hiroshi made several phone calls in rapid Japanese, then turned back to them. "It is arranged. But Cross-san, you should know that some board members are very upset. They may ask difficult questions." "I understand. I'm prepared to take full responsibility for our cultural oversights." The hours until the video conference were spent in intense preparation. Hiroshi's assistant provided background information on each board member, their particular concerns, and the best approaches for addressing their questions. Darlene worked with Nathan on crafting responses that balanced American directness with Japanese diplomacy. They practiced handling hostile questions with grace and patience. "Remember," Darlene coached, "if someone asks a difficult question, pause before answering. show that you're giving their concerns serious thought. When 3 p.m. arrived, they gathered in Tanaka Global's high-tech conference room. The large screen displayed 7 stern-looking executives from various Tanaka Global offices across Japan. Hiroshi introduced Nathan and Darlene in Japanese, explaining the purpose of the meeting. Then he switched to English for Nathan's benefit. Board members, Cross-san wishes to address your concerns personally. Nathan stood and bowed toward the camera. Honorable board members, I am deeply grateful for your time. I come before you not to make excuses, but to acknowledge my failures and propose solutions. For the next hour, Nathan fielded questions about everything from communication protocols to cultural sensitivity training for his staff. Darlene provided subtle guidance, helping him navigate particularly challenging moments. The breakthrough came when the eldest board member, Yamamoto-san, asked the most difficult question of all. Cross-san, how do we know this is not just pretty words to save a contract? How do we know you truly understand the importance of respect in business relationships? Nathan paused exactly as Darlene had taught him. Then he spoke from his heart. Yamamoto-san, 3 days ago I did not understand. But working with Darlene has taught me that business is not just about profit. It is about relationships, mutual respect, and creating value together. I cannot undo 5 years of cultural blindness, but I can promise that going forward, your culture and your business needs will be as important to me as my own. Yamamoto-san leaned forward. And this woman, this Darlene, she will continue to advise you? Darlene answered in Japanese before Nathan could respond. Yamamoto-san, I would be honored to serve as a bridge between our cultures, to ensure that respect and understanding guide all future communications. The board members murmured among themselves in Japanese. Then Yamamoto-san smiled for the first time. Cross-san, your cultural advisor shows great wisdom. If she continues to guide your communications with us, we are willing to continue our partnership. Relief flooded through Nathan. Thank you, Yamamoto-san. Thank you all. After the video conference ended, Hiroshi shook both their hands warmly. You have saved your contract, Cross-san. But more importantly, you have begun to build the kind of partnership we have always hoped for. As they left the building, Nathan turned to Darlene with amazement in his eyes. We did it. We actually did it. We did, Darlene agreed, but she sensed there was more to come. That evening, Hiroshi called their hotel with an unexpected invitation that would change everything once again. The call came while Nathan and Darlene were celebrating their successful board meeting with room service sushi and sake in their hotel suite. Nathan's phone rang, and Hiroshi's name appeared on the caller ID. Tanaka-san, Nathan answered, putting the call on speaker so Darlene could listen. Cross-san, I hope I am not disturbing your evening. Not at all. We were just reflecting on today's positive outcome. Good. I am calling because my board has made an additional request. They were very impressed with both your sincerity and Darlene-san's cultural knowledge. Nathan and Darlene exchanged glances. What kind of request? They would like to meet you both in person tomorrow. Not for business negotiations, but for a traditional tea ceremony and cultural exchange. They want to welcome you properly into our business family. Darlene's eyes widened. Being invited to a formal tea ceremony was a significant honor in Japanese culture. We would be deeply honored, Nathan replied. Excellent. But there is one condition. The ceremony is very traditional, very formal. You must both be prepared to participate fully in Japanese customs for several hours. We understand, Darlene answered in Japanese. We will prepare appropriately. Perfect. My assistant will send details to your hotel. And Cross-san? My board is also interested in discussing a proposal that might benefit both our companies significantly. After the call ended, Nathan turned to Darlene with excitement and nervousness. A formal tea ceremony? What does that involve? It's one of the highest honors they could offer, Darlene explained. It means they truly accept you as a respected partner. But Hiroshi is right about the preparation. Every movement, every gesture has meaning. We'll need to practice. They spent the evening learning the intricate steps of the tea ceremony from online videos and cultural guides. Darlene coached Nathan on sitting seiza style, the proper way to hold and appreciate the tea bowl, and the respectful silence that allowed participants to focus on the moment. This is harder than any business negotiation I've ever done, Nathan admitted after an hour of practice. Because it's not about winning or losing, Darlene said. It's about harmony, respect, and being present in the moment. The next morning, they were collected by a traditional car and driven to a beautiful temple complex on the outskirts of Tokyo. The tea house was a masterpiece of traditional architecture, surrounded by carefully maintained gardens. Hiroshi greeted them wearing a formal kimono, accompanied by the 7 board members they had met via video conference. Each man bowed deeply, and Nathan and Darlene returned the gesture with the precise respect Darlene had taught him. "Welcome to our tea house," Hiroshi said. "Today we set aside business and focus on understanding each other as people." The ceremony that followed was unlike anything Nathan had ever experienced. The deliberate pace, the focus on each small movement, the appreciation for simple beauty created an atmosphere of peace and connection. Darlene participated with natural grace, her grandmother's teachings evident in every gesture. Nathan, despite his nervousness, showed genuine respect and attention that impressed the Japanese executives. During the quiet moments of the ceremony, Yamamoto-san spoke softly to Darlene in Japanese. "Your grandmother taught you well. You understand not just our language but our spirit. Thank you, Yamamoto-san. She always said that understanding culture was about understanding the heart, not just the words." After the ceremony concluded, the group moved to a more comfortable room for discussion. Hiroshi smiled at both Nathan and Darlene. "Cross-san, Darlene-san, you have honored us today. Now we would like to discuss something that could benefit both our companies greatly." "We're listening," Nathan said. "Our board has been discussing expansion into the American market for cultural and educational exchanges. We believe there is great value in helping American companies understand Asian business culture, just as you have learned." Darlene felt her heart rate increase. This sounded like an opportunity beyond anything she had imagined. "What are you proposing?" Nathan asked. "A joint venture. Cross Industries would establish a cultural consulting division, with Darlene San as the director. We would provide expertise, training, and clients throughout Asia. Together, we could help American businesses avoid the cultural mistakes that nearly cost us our partnership." Nathan looked at Darlene, who was trying to process the magnitude of what was being offered. "This would mean," Hiroshi continued, "that Darlene San would travel regularly between America and Asia, building relationships and providing cultural guidance. It would be a significant responsibility." Yamamoto-san added, "We have watched her today. She has the knowledge, the respect, and the natural ability to bridge our cultures successfully." Nathan felt a surge of pride for Darlene, mixed with a concern about what this might mean for their growing personal relationship. "What would this involve specifically?" Nathan asked. "Initially, 6 months in Japan for intensive training in advanced business culture and language. Then regular travel between our countries as needed. The position would come with a significant salary and the resources to build a new division within Cross Industries." Darlene finally found her voice. "Tanaka-san, this is an incredible opportunity. But I need to understand something. Would I be working for Cross Industries or Tanaka Global?" "Both. You would be the bridge between our companies, reporting to Cross-san but working closely with our cultural training department." The room fell silent as everyone waited for Darlene's response. Nathan watched her face, seeing the excitement and fear battling in her expression. Darlene started, then paused. "Could I have some time to consider this? It's a much larger opportunity than I ever imagined." "Of course," Hiroshi said. "Take all the time you need. But we hope you will say yes. We believe you could help many companies avoid the misunderstandings that nearly cost us our friendship." As they rode back to the hotel, Nathan was unusually quiet. "What are you thinking?" Darlene asked. "I'm thinking you're about to become one of the most in-demand cultural consultants in international business," Nathan said. "And I'm incredibly proud of you. But I'm also thinking that I just found someone amazing, and now she might be traveling the world for 6 months." Darlene reached over and took his hand. "Nathan, 3 days ago I was cleaning your office. Now I'm being offered a chance to change my entire life. I need to think about this carefully." "I know. And whatever you decide, I'll support it. Your potential is too great to limit because of my personal feelings." That evening, as Darlene sat on their suite's balcony looking out over Tokyo, she realized she was facing the biggest decision of her life. Accept this incredible opportunity and step into a future she had never dared imagine, or choose a safer path closer to the man she was falling for. But as her grandmother had always taught her, the biggest opportunities often required the biggest leaps of faith. The question was she ready to jump? Darlene spent a sleepless night weighing her options. The opportunity Tanaka Global offered was beyond her wildest dreams, but it would mean major changes to the life she was just beginning to build with Nathan. When morning came, she found Nathan on the suite's balcony, drinking coffee and watching the sunrise over Tokyo. "Did you sleep at all?" he asked, offering her a cup. "Not much. I keep thinking about what my grandmother would say about this opportunity." What do you think she would say? Darlene smiled softly. She would tell me that fear is the only thing standing between me and my dreams. She spent 40 years working for someone else's family, always wishing she could use her skills in bigger ways. Nathan nodded thoughtfully. Then you know what you need to do. I think I do. But first, I want to experience more of what this would actually involve. Can we extend our stay in Tokyo for a few more days? I want to understand what working here would really be like. Absolutely. I'll call the office and arrange for an extended stay. Over the next 3 days, Hiroshi arranged for Darlene to shadow the cultural training department at Tanaka Global. She observed business meetings, participated in client consultations, and worked with their team of cultural specialists. Nathan spent his time learning more about Japanese business practices, attending meetings with various Tanaka Global departments, and seeing firsthand how cultural understanding improved business relationships. This is incredible, Darlene told Nathan after her second day with the cultural team. They have specialists for every aspect of international business relations. Food customs, gift protocols, communication styles, negotiation approaches. How do you feel about the work itself? It's exactly what I've always wanted to do without knowing it existed. I helped a German company understand why their presentations weren't connecting with Japanese clients. The solution was simple once they understood the cultural differences, but it made a huge impact on their success. Nathan could see the excitement in Darlene's eyes, the sense of purpose that came from using her skills meaningfully. There's something else, Darlene continued. Hiroshi introduced me to other cultural liaisons who work internationally. They have fascinating careers, traveling the world, helping companies succeed through better cultural understanding. Are you getting closer to a decision? I think so. But Nathan, I need to know something. What happens to us if I take this position? Nathan took her hands in his. Darlene, I care about you deeply. These past few days have shown me what an amazing partnership we could have, both professionally and personally. But I won't ask you to limit your potential for my comfort. That doesn't answer my question. If you take this position, we'll figure out how to make a relationship work despite the distance and travel. If that means I visit you regularly, or we plan our schedules around each other, we'll find a way. And if it doesn't work out? Then at least we'll know we didn't let fear stop either of us from pursuing our dreams. That evening, Hiroshi invited them to dinner at a traditional restaurant where business decisions were often made informally. The setting was elegant but relaxed, allowing for honest conversation. Darlene-san, Hiroshi said over perfectly prepared sushi, have you had enough time to consider our offer? I have, and I'm incredibly honored by your confidence in me. But I have some questions about the practical aspects. Please ask anything. The 6 months of training in Japan, would that be continuous, or could it be broken into shorter periods? We are flexible. Many of our cultural liaisons prefer to spend 2 or 3 months at a time here, with breaks to return home and apply what they've learned. Nathan felt relieved. Extended separations would be difficult, but shorter periods seemed manageable. And after the training period? Darlene continued. You would be based in America, but travel here quarterly for advanced training and relationship building. Most of your work would involve American companies seeking to do business in Asia. What about other Asian countries besides Japan? Eventually, yes. We have partnerships throughout Asia. You would become an expert in multiple cultures, not just ours. Darlene looked at Nathan, then back at Hiroshi. I would like to accept your offer with one condition. What condition? I want Cross Industries to be the pilot program for this new division. I want to spend the next 6 months not only learning your methods, but applying them to improve Nathan's company's international relationships. Hiroshi smiled broadly. An excellent suggestion. Cross-san, would this arrangement work for you? It would be perfect, Nathan replied. Having Darlene implement cultural training at Cross Industries while she learns would benefit everyone. Then we have an agreement, Hiroshi said, raising his sake cup. To new partnerships and cultural understanding. As they drank the traditional toast, Darlene felt a surge of excitement mixed with nervousness. She was about to embark on a career she had never imagined possible. Later that evening, as they walked through Tokyo's bustling Shibuya district, Nathan took Darlene's hand. How are you feeling about your decision? Scared and excited and grateful, Darlene admitted. 3 months ago, the biggest decision in my life was choosing which buildings to clean on which nights. Now I'm about to become an international cultural consultant. Do you regret answering that phone call? Darlene stopped walking and turned to face him. Never. That phone call changed everything. It brought me this opportunity, this career, and... She paused, looking into his eyes. It brought me you. Nathan smiled and pulled her closer. For the record, I think you're going to be amazing at this job. Even if it means I'll be traveling constantly? Especially because of that. The world needs more people who can build bridges between cultures. And I need you to be happy and fulfilled, even if it means sharing you with the rest of the world. As they stood in the middle of one of the world's busiest intersections, surrounded by millions of people but focused only on each other, Darlene realized that sometimes the best adventures began with the scariest decisions. Tomorrow they would fly back to America to begin implementing her new role, but tonight she was exactly where she wanted to be. In Tokyo with Nathan on the brink of the most exciting chapter of her life. Ready to go home and start our new adventure? Nathan asked. With you? I'm ready for anything. Returning to New York felt surreal for Darlene. Just 1 week earlier she had been cleaning the Cross Industries building at night. Now she was walking through the same hallways as the company's new director of cultural relations, with employees greeting her respectfully and Nathan's assistant scheduling meetings on her behalf. The transition wasn't entirely smooth. Some longtime employees struggled to adjust to Darlene's new role, particularly those who remembered her as the cleaning lady. But Nathan addressed this directly in a company-wide meeting. I want everyone to understand something important, Nathan announced to the gathered staff. Darlene Whitaker saved this company. Her cultural knowledge and language skills prevented us from losing our biggest client. Now she's going to help us become the most culturally competent company in our industry. The formal contract negotiation with Tanaka Global was scheduled for the following week. Hiroshi would fly to New York with 3 board members to finalize the details of both the renewed business contract and the new cultural consulting partnership. Darlene spent the days leading up to the meeting preparing Cross Industries' conference room according to Japanese standards. She arranged for proper tea service, ensured appropriate seating arrangements, and coached the executive team on cultural protocols. Remember, she told Nathan's senior staff, in Japanese business culture, the relationship is as important as the contract terms. These meetings are about building trust and mutual respect. Jennifer, Nathan's assistant, raised her hand. What if they ask questions we don't know how to answer? Be honest about not knowing but express genuine interest in learning. They respect humility and willingness to improve more than false confidence. Tom Richardson from operations, who had sent the original problematic email, looked particularly nervous. What if they bring up my mistake? If they do, take responsibility without making excuses, express sincere regret, and demonstrate what you've learned, Darlene advised. They value accountability and growth. The day of the negotiation arrived with typical New York autumn weather. Crisp, clear, and energizing. Hiroshi and his team arrived precisely on time, dressed in impeccable business attire that reflected both tradition and modernity. Darlene greeted them in Japanese, using the formal honorifics appropriate for such an important occasion. Tanaka-san, welcome to Cross Industries. We are deeply honored by your presence. Darlene-san, Hiroshi replied warmly, it is our pleasure to be here. Your preparation is evident and much appreciated. The tea ceremony that opened the meeting set the tone for everything that followed. Nathan had practiced extensively, and his respectful participation impressed the Japanese executives. Even Tom Richardson, despite his nervousness, demonstrated genuine effort to honor their customs. Before we discuss contract terms, Hiroshi said, I want to address the cultural training partnership. My board is very excited about this initiative. He turned to Darlene. We have prepared a detailed proposal for your review. The document Hiroshi presented outlined an extensive program that exceeded even Darlene's expectations. The Cultural Consulting Division would start with a $2 million annual budget, international training opportunities, and partnerships with major corporations across America. This is substantial, Nathan said, reviewing the numbers. We believe cultural understanding is the future of international business, explained Yamamoto-san. Companies that master this will have significant competitive advantages. Darlene studied the proposal carefully. Tanaka-san, this program would help dozens of American companies improve their international relationships. But I want to ensure we can deliver quality training, not just volume. An excellent concern, Hiroshi nodded. We propose starting with 10 pilot companies in the first year, building expertise and case studies before expanding. The negotiations continued for hours, with Darlene serving as both cultural advisor and active participant. She helped navigate moments when American directness might have caused offense, and ensured that Japanese concerns about implementation were fully addressed. During a break, Yamamoto-san approached Darlene privately. Darlene-san, You demonstrate remarkable wisdom for someone so new to international business. Thank you, Yamamoto-san. I'm learning from excellent teachers. May I ask you something personal? Are you and Cross-san romantically involved? Darlene was surprised by the directness of the question. We are exploring that possibility. Why do you ask? Because business partnerships work best when there is harmony in all relationships. We see how you work together, how you support each other. This gives us confidence in the long-term stability of our partnership. When negotiations resumed, the final sticking point involved Darlene's travel schedule. Tanaka Global wanted her in Japan for 3 months of each year, while Nathan preferred shorter, more frequent trips. Perhaps, Darlene suggested, we could structure the program seasonally. I could spend extended time in Japan during your slower business periods, and be available in America during peak project times. This compromise satisfied both parties, and by late afternoon, they had reached agreement on all major points. There is one final tradition we must observe, Hiroshi announced. In Japan, important agreements are sealed with a formal ceremony. He presented Nathan with an exquisite hand-crafted pen, made by a master artisan in Kyoto. This represents the permanence of our partnership and the respect we have for your commitment to cultural understanding. Nathan accepted the pen with both hands and a deep bow. Tanaka-san, I am deeply honored. This partnership represents a new chapter for Cross Industries, and we will honor the trust you have placed in us. As the contracts were signed, Darlene felt overwhelmed by the magnitude of what had just happened. In 2 weeks, she had gone from cleaning offices to negotiating million-dollar international partnerships. Darlene-san, Hiroshi said as the meeting concluded, you have exceeded our highest expectations. We look forward to working with you for many years. After the Japanese delegation departed, Nathan's executive team gathered for a celebration dinner. The mood was jubilant, with everyone recognizing that they had just secured not only their biggest client, but also a new revenue stream that could transform the company. I want to propose a toast, Nathan said, raising his glass. To Darlene Whitaker, who answered a phone call and changed all our lives. As the team applauded, Darlene felt tears of gratitude in her eyes. But she also felt something else, the weight of new responsibilities and the exciting challenge of proving herself worthy of the trust everyone had placed in her. Later that evening, as she and Nathan walked through Central Park, she reflected on how dramatically her life had changed. Are you ready for what comes next? Nathan asked. I'm ready to try my best, Darlene replied. But Nathan, I need you to know something. Success hasn't changed how I feel about you. If anything, it's made me more grateful for your support. Nathan stopped walking and turned to face her. Darlene, I need to tell you something too. These past 2 weeks have shown me what I want my future to look like, and it includes you in every part of it. Even with all the travel and new responsibilities? Especially with those things. You're becoming the person you were always meant to be, and I want to be part of that journey. As they stood beneath the autumn trees, with the New York skyline glittering around them, Darlene realized that the best part of her new life wasn't the career opportunity or the financial security. It was finding someone who believed in her dreams as much as she was learning to believe in them herself. 6 weeks into Darlene's new role as Director of Cultural Relations, Cross Industries was already seeing the benefits of her expertise. She had successfully guided 3 major clients through negotiations with Asian partners, preventing potential cultural misunderstandings that could have cost millions and lost business. The success hadn't gone unnoticed. Companies throughout New York were requesting Darlene's consulting services, and Nathan found himself fielding calls from competitors trying to recruit her away from Cross Industries. We need to talk, Nathan said, finding Darlene in her new office, which was decorated with cultural artifacts from her recent business trips to Japan, South Korea, and Singapore. About what? Darlene asked, looking up from a cultural sensitivity training manual she was developing. About your future here. And about us. Nathan sat down across from her desk, his expression serious but warm. Darlene, you've exceeded everyone's expectations, including mine. But I'm getting calls from major corporations offering to double, even triple your salary to come work for them. Are you asking me to leave? Absolutely not. I'm asking you to let me make sure you never want to leave. He pulled out a formal document from his briefcase. This is a new contract offer. It makes you a partner in Cross Industries with equity in the company and a salary that matches your value to our organization. Darlene's eyes widened as she reviewed the numbers. The offer was more money than she had ever imagined earning, along with significant ownership in the company. Nathan, this is incredibly generous, but I need to understand your motivation. Are you offering this because you think I deserve it, or because you're afraid of losing me? Both, Nathan admitted honestly. You've earned this through your performance. But I also can't imagine running this company without you as my partner, professionally and personally. Think about how many people achieve their dreams only to discover that success feels empty without someone special to share it with. What would you do if you had to choose between an amazing career opportunity and the person you love? Tell us in the comments, and subscribe to follow Darlene's journey as she navigates love and success. You said professionally and personally. Are you mixing business with romance? Nathan stood up and walked around the desk to where she was sitting. Darlene, I've been trying to keep those separate, but I can't anymore. I'm in love with you. I love your intelligence, your courage, your integrity, and the way you've transformed not just this company, but my entire perspective on business and life. Darlene felt her heart race. Nathan, I love you too. But I need to be sure that this partnership offer isn't just about your personal feelings. Look at the metrics, Nathan said, pointing to the performance reports on her desk. In 6 weeks, you've brought in 3 new major clients, prevented 2 cultural crises that could have cost us millions, and established a training program that other companies are paying us to replicate. This offer is based on results, not romance. And if things don't work out between us personally, then we'll figure out how to maintain a professional partnership while we work through our personal issues. Darlene, you're too valuable to this company for me to let personal complications affect business decisions. Darlene stood up and walked to the window overlooking the city where her journey had begun just 2 months earlier. Nathan, I accept your offer. Both the business partnership and the personal relationship. Just like that. She turned back to him with a smile. My grandmother always taught me that when good things come into your life, you should accept them with gratitude instead of fear. This is good, Nathan. We're good together. Nathan crossed the room and pulled her into his arms. I love you, partner. I love you too. But we should probably set some ground rules about mixing business and personal relationships. Agreed. What do you suggest? Business hours are for business. Personal time is for personal things. And if we disagree about company matters, we discuss it professionally, not as a couple. Deal. Their conversation was interrupted by Nathan's assistant Jennifer knocking on the door. Sorry to interrupt, but Hiroshi Tanaka is on the phone with an urgent matter. Nathan and Darlene exchanged glances. Urgent calls from their biggest client still made them both nervous. Put him through to Darlene's office, Nathan said. Tanaka-san, Darlene answered in Japanese. How may I help you? Darlene-san, I have wonderful news. My board has been so impressed with the success of our cultural consulting partnership that we want to expand it significantly. What kind of expansion? We want to offer you a position as Tanaka Global's Director of International Cultural Relations. You would oversee cultural training for all our Western business partnerships, not just those with cross-industries. Darlene felt Nathan tense beside her. That sounds like a significant opportunity, Tanaka-san. It is. The position would come with a substantial salary increase, international travel to establish programs in Europe and South America, and the chance to build cultural understanding on a global scale. And my responsibilities with cross-industries? Those would continue but as part of a larger portfolio. Cross-industries would become our flagship Western partner, with you serving as the bridge between our companies. Nathan was writing notes on a pad, trying to follow the conversation despite the language barrier. Tanaka-san, this is an incredible honor. May I have some time to consider the offer and discuss it with Cross-san? Of course. But Darlene-san, this opportunity could make you one of the most influential cultural consultants in international business. Take whatever time you need. After the call ended, Nathan looked at Darlene with a mixture of pride and concern. Let me guess. They want to promote you to an even bigger role. Global Director of International Cultural Relations. It would mean working with companies all over the world, not just in Asia. That's amazing. And terrifying. Why terrifying? Because I just got you as my business partner and girlfriend, and now the world wants to take you away from me. Darlene sat on the edge of her desk, considering the implications. Nathan, what if we looked at this differently? What if this opportunity could benefit both of us? How? If I take this position, Cross Industries becomes Tanaka Global's flagship Western partner. That means more business, more prestige, and more opportunities for your company. And I would still be based here in New York, just traveling more frequently. Nathan was quiet for a long moment. You want to take it? I think I do. But not if it means losing what we're building together. Darlene, 2 months ago you were afraid to step outside your comfort zone. Now you're being offered the chance to change how international business operates around the world. I won't be the reason you don't pursue that dream. Even if it means I'll be traveling constantly? Then I'll learn to appreciate the time we have together even more. Darlene stood up and walked back to Nathan. Are you sure about this? Really sure? I'm sure that I love you enough to support your biggest dreams, even when they scare me. Then I'll call Hiroshi back and accept his offer. With one condition. What condition? Marry me. Darlene stared at Nathan in shock. What? I know it's fast and I know timing is terrible with all these career changes. But Darlene, I don't want to wait for the perfect moment to ask you to be my wife. I want to build this incredible future with you as my partner in every sense of the word. Tears filled Darlene's eyes. Nathan, are you proposing to me in my office during a business discussion? Is that a yes or a no? It's a yes, you wonderful, imperfect, timing-challenged man. As Nathan kissed her, Darlene realized that sometimes the most important decisions in life came disguised as business opportunities. She was about to become a global business leader and an engaged woman, all because she had answered a phone call 2 months earlier. The future had never looked so bright or so full of possibilities. 6 months after that life-changing phone call, Darlene stood in front of the mirror in the bridal suite at the Plaza Hotel, hardly recognizing the woman staring back at her. The elegant ivory dress, the professional makeup, the confidence in her eyes, everything reflected the transformation that had begun with a simple decision to answer a ringing phone. You look absolutely beautiful, said Jennifer, who had become not just Nathan's assistant but one of Darlene's closest friends and her maid of honor. I feel like I'm living someone else's life, Darlene admitted, adjusting her grandmother's pearl necklace, something old that connected her to the woman who had made all of this possible. You're living your own life for the first time, Jennifer corrected. The life you were always meant to have. A knock at the door interrupted them. Hiroshi Tanaka entered, immaculate in his formal morning coat, carrying a small wrapped gift. Darlene-san, you honor us by including Tanaka Global in your wedding celebration. Tanaka-san, you're not just a business partner. You're the reason Nathan and I found each other. Hiroshi smiled and presented the gift. This is from my wife and me. Something to remind you that the best partnerships in business and life are built on mutual respect and understanding. Inside the elegant box was a stunning piece of Japanese art. 2 cranes carved from jade, their necks intertwined, symbolizing lifelong partnership and good fortune. It's perfect, Darlene said, tears threatening her carefully applied makeup. Are you ready for this? Hiroshi asked gently. More ready than I've ever been for anything. The wedding ceremony took place in the plaza's elegant ballroom, decorated with flowers representing both American and Japanese traditions. Nathan's family had flown in from California, initially skeptical about his whirlwind romance with a former cleaning lady but won over completely by Darlene's warmth, intelligence and obvious love for their son. As Darlene walked down the aisle, she saw faces throughout the crowd that represented her journey, her former cleaning crew colleagues who had watched her transformation with pride and amazement, cross-industries executives who had learned to respect her expertise, and Tanaka Global board members who had flown from Japan to celebrate. But her eyes were fixed on Nathan, standing at the altar with tears of joy in his eyes and a smile that made her heart race the same way it had during their first business meeting in Tokyo. Dearly beloved, the officiant began, we are gathered here today to witness the union of 2 people who found love through the most unexpected circumstances. The ceremony was beautiful, but the moment that made everyone smile was when Nathan and Darlene exchanged vows in both English and Japanese, honoring both cultures that had brought them together. Nathan, Darlene said in English, then repeated in Japanese, you saw potential in me when I couldn't see it in myself. You supported my dreams even when they meant time apart. I promise to be your partner in business, in love, and in life. Darlene, Nathan replied, struggling with the Japanese pronunciation but making the effort. You taught me that success means nothing without understanding, respect, and love. You made me a better businessman and a better man. I promise to support your dreams as passionately as you've supported mine. As they kissed to seal their marriage, the ballroom erupted in applause from an audience that included billionaire executives, former cleaning crew members, Japanese business leaders, and family members who had watched 2 people from completely different worlds find perfect harmony together. The reception was a celebration that bridged cultures and social classes. Tom Richardson from operations gave a toast about second chances and learning from mistakes. Yamamoto-san spoke about the importance of recognizing talent regardless of its source. Even some of Darlene's former cleaning crew colleagues shared stories about her kindness and work ethic. But the most touching moment came when Nathan stood to address the crowd. 6 months ago I thought I knew what success looked like. I had money, power, and what I believed was everything I needed. Then Darlene answered a phone call that changed both our lives. She didn't just save my company, she taught me that real success comes from understanding others, respecting different perspectives, and having someone to share your achievements with. He turned to Darlene, taking her hand. My wife has gone from cleaning offices at night to being one of the most sought-after cultural consultants in international business. But more importantly, she's taught me what it means to be part of a true partnership. As the evening wound down, Darlene and Nathan found themselves alone on the ballroom's balcony, looking out over Central Park where they had walked together after their first successful business meeting. Any regrets? Nathan asked, pulling his wife closer. Only one, Darlene replied. What's that? I wish my grandmother could have met you. She would have loved seeing how this all turned out. I think she can see, Nathan said softly. And I think she's proud of the woman you've become. Darlene smiled, thinking about the scared cleaning lady who had answered a phone call 6 months earlier. That woman could never have imagined standing here as Mrs. Nathan Cross, Director of Global Cultural Relations for Tanaka Global, and co-owner of Cross Industries. What are you thinking about? Nathan asked, just marveling at how answering one phone call changed everything. If I had let it ring. But you didn't. You took a risk, trusted your instincts, and changed both our lives. A year later, Darlene stood in front of a packed auditorium at Columbia Business School, delivering a keynote speech titled, Cultural Intelligence, the Future of International Business. In the audience sat Nathan, beaming with pride, along with students, business leaders, and colleagues from around the world. Success, Darlene told the crowd, often comes disguised as an opportunity that scares us. A year and a half ago, I was working as a night cleaner, convinced that my dreams were too big for my circumstances. Then I answered a phone call that terrified me and everything changed. She paused, making eye contact with Nathan. I learned that our biggest limitations are often self-imposed. That courage isn't the absence of fear, but acting despite fear. And that sometimes the most important thing you can do is answer when opportunity calls, even if you don't feel ready. The standing ovation that followed reflected not just appreciation for her words, but recognition of a journey that had inspired thousands of people to pursue their own seemingly impossible dreams. After the speech, as Darlene and Nathan walked across the Columbia campus where she was now a guest lecturer, she reflected on the suspense that had been building for weeks. Nathan had been acting mysteriously, taking private phone calls and meeting with people he wouldn't identify. Darlene suspected he was planning some kind of surprise for their first wedding anniversary, but she couldn't imagine what it might be. The answer came that evening when Nathan led her to their apartment's rooftop garden, which had been transformed with lights, flowers, and a beautiful dinner setup overlooking the city. Nathan, this is beautiful, but our anniversary isn't for another month. This isn't for our anniversary, Nathan said, his voice filled with excitement. This is for something else. He handed her an elegantly wrapped package. Inside was a folder containing legal documents and architectural plans. Nathan, what is this? It's the Whitaker Foundation for Cultural Understanding, he said, his eyes shining. A non-profit organization dedicated to providing cultural education and language training to underserved communities. Darlene's hands shook as she read through the documents. The foundation had an initial endowment of $5 million and partnerships with schools, community centers, and businesses throughout New York. The goal, Nathan continued, is to give other people the same opportunities your grandmother gave you. To teach languages and cultural understanding to people who might never otherwise have access to international opportunities. Nathan, this is incredible. But why now? Because I've watched you transform not just your own life but the lives of everyone you work with. Your success shouldn't be rare, Darlene. Cultural understanding and language skills should be available to everyone, regardless of their economic circumstances. Tears streamed down Darlene's face as she realized the magnitude of what Nathan had created. This foundation could change thousands of lives, creating opportunities for people just like she had been. There's one more thing, Nathan said, pulling out another document. The foundation's first scholarship recipient is Maria Santos, one of your former cleaning crew colleagues. She starts Japanese language classes next month. Darlene threw her arms around Nathan, overwhelmed by gratitude and love. How did you know this was exactly what I would want? Because I know you. And I know that your greatest joy comes from helping others achieve their dreams. As they stood together on their rooftop, looking out over the city where their story began, Darlene realized that the most beautiful part of success was the ability to lift others up along the way. Ready for our next adventure? Nathan asked. With you? I'm ready for anything. And as the lights of New York twinkled around them, Darlene knew that the best chapters of their story were still to be written, filled with love, success, and the joy of helping others answer their own life-changing phone calls.